Hello and welcome back to another video. For today's video we have in-brand comparison. We have two vehicles from the same brand but very different from each other. Which one is the right one for you? The 2020 Toyota 4Runner or the 2020 Highlander? Today I'm going to find out what these two offer, well, how do they compare, and which one is the best out of the two. Now that has to do more about your needs. What do you actually need? You need a vehicle for off-road and day-to-day, or do you need a vehicle with lots of space? And that's what the goal is for today's video. Special thanks for this video goes to our good friend at St. Catherine Performance Toyota, a Toyota dealership located in St. Catherine, Ontario, Canada. If you want to know more about their dealership, the link will be in the description below. And of course, their Instagram or Facebook if you want to take either or for a test drive. Now, let's start comparing these two. Whether you're watching this from Canada or United States, one thing is for sure. This one over here, the 2020 4Runner, is going to cost you more compared to the standard Highlander. In Canada, the Highlander will start at about $43,000. Now, if you get the front-wheel drive vehicle, it will start about $38,000. Meanwhile, the 4Runner only offers four-wheel drive, and for that will cost you about $48,000. And of course, that's Canadian. So what do they offer under the hood? Whether you pick the 4Runner or the Highlander, they both offer a V6, with the Highlander producing a little bit more horsepower compared to the 4Runner. The 4Runner offers you a 5-speed automatic transmission. Meanwhile, in the Highlander, you have an 8-speed. The Highlander has an advantage. It is longer compared to the 4Runner. The 4Runner, the overall length is at 190 inches long. Meanwhile, the Highlander is about 198 inches long. The only advantage to the 4Runner is actually the height and of course the ground clearance compared to the Highlander, which also means that the Highlander actually offers better trunk space. The third row seat up, the Highlander will give you quite a lot of space that you can use. You can also fold the third row seat, that way you get more space. The 4Runner doesn't actually have a powered tailgate. You have to open it manually. Unlike the Highlander, the 4Runner only offers 5 to 7 seats. Meanwhile, the Highlander will offer you up to 8 seating capacity. At the same time, as you can see behind the third row seats, that's literally what you get. This is how much you only get in this side. So you can only fit maybe this bag or your lunch box, because other than that, you can't fit anything. Now, of course, you can fold the third row seat, but if you had people in the third row seats and you wanted to use this area, well, you don't have much to work with. Now into the second row seat for the Toyota 4Runner, well, you don't get much in here, but in terms of space, it's nice and comfortable, very wide, tons of leg room, even though the seat in front of me, it's actually positioned in a way that I would be the actual driver. That way we can make a fair comparison. The seat in here in the center will give you some space for a third person. That way you can probably fit 7 people in total. Now, getting into the third row seat is not easy. It takes time and it is very cramped compared to the Highlander, which it is positioned differently, and of course it has an easy access to the third row seat. But meanwhile in here, very standard, still comfortable, beautiful leather interior, but not much technology on the rear side except 2 charging ports at the bottom and of course 2 standard air vents. In the Highlander, well, you get a little bit more technology, and of course you get a massive panoramic roof that you can open the front one, of course. The climate unit is located into the center. With the Platinum package, you get heated seats on the rear side. And you also get this sunshades onto the door, if you like that kind of stuff. But when it comes to space, they're actually very similar. Lots of leg room in both sides. And of course, you have some space here for a third person in the center for the second row seat. And it is far easier to get into the third row seat compared to the 4Runner, which was very tight and almost impossible for my height. I'm 6'2", so that was quite hard. If you're a pet lover, the 4Runner could be your choice because the rear windshields will provide you with the option to open from inside. That way you can get some air inside for the dogs, or maybe if you have kids and they want some fresh air, or if you're going camping, you can use it as well. Also, the Highlander will offer you quite a lot of technology for the money. So for example, you got a beautiful 360 camera with a bird's eye view. You got cooling seats and heated seats, similar to the 4Runner. You have power handbrakes and auto hold as well. You have driving modes similar to the 4Runner. The difference in here is you have sports, normal, and eco. Meanwhile, in the 4Runner, you can only change the drivetrain mode. Basically, you can do 4-wheel high or 4-wheel low, and extra options. If you pick the TRD Pro, well, that goes a little bit further than that because it offers a more advanced drivetrain for off-road mode. But that, of course, comes with a price tag. On top of the standards that you will pick in order to get the TRD Pro, well, you're looking at about $11,000 or so in the States and about $14,000 in Canada for the TRD Pro for a proper off-road beast. Also, in the Highlander, you get a heads-up display, something that you don't find in the 4Runner. That doesn't mean that the 4Runner doesn't offer much technology. In fact, it offers quite a lot. So for example, you have a digital touchscreen with a built-in navigation system. At the same time, you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It does offer a backup camera, and you have the standard heated and cooling seat. You also have a climate unit into the center. It also offers power seats for both sides and with a bolster adjustment as well. At the same time, beautiful leather interior. The one that we have for today's video is actually the limited package, which is technically their luxury package for the 4Runner. You also get a single sunroof with the option to open manually, of course, the sunshade. Now, when it comes to the cluster, it's very standard, and of course, even the actual design of it is very mechanical, but it offers the center screen for information, fuel efficiency, trips, and so on. I've covered everything you need to know about these two vehicles and how do they compare in terms of technology, space, and of course, the extra features. Now, it's time to take them for a test drive. And here's what we're gonna do. We're going to take first the Toyota 4Runner, since I actually haven't driven the 2020 model, and then we're going to take the Highlander next and see how they compare in terms of turning radius, cabin noise, and at the same time how they handle on the road and the comfort level. Which one is the most comfortable out of the two? So let's go for a drive. Today I was able to do a turning radius test. So here's what I did. I found a pole, put the camera in a certain distance from the pole, left it there, took one car, started first with the 4Runner, then positioned the 4Runner in the same position I would do with the Highlander, which I did, by the center pillar, and did a full turn. Now, the interesting part is, which one was the best? Well, it was the Highlander. If you pay attention carefully, the closer the car is to the camera, the worse the turning radius is, because that means the car takes quite a lot of space to do a full turn. In the Toyota 4Runner, I was able to do all the driving modes. You have 4 high, 4 low, to see if we made it any change, but they're all 4 the same, and all the driving modes got the same result. So the Highlander was actually the furthest from the camera compared to the 4Runner. If you look at the 4Runner, it is very close to the camera. The camera was positioned in the same place for both tests. So we can safely say that the Highlander offers better turning radius compared to the 4Runner. Now, driving the 4Runner right off the bat, I do feel like I am way higher off the ground compared to the Highlander. It feels like I'm in a Ford F-150, as high as that. And I have actually the seat all the way to the bottom. Like, it's all the way to the bottom. So that's one difference between the two of them. Now, we're going to do a cabin noise test as well to figure out which one is better isolated inside. Pedal to the metal. Okay, that was interesting. Very good. The car, it feels very heavy compared to the Highlander, and again, very high off the ground. It's not the most comfortable. You're always afraid this thing is going to roll over, and it could probably, but I mean, if you keep a standard speed, it will just do just fine. Now, let's talk about visibility in this car. Pretty standard. The wind shield on the rear side, it's pretty much wide compared to the Highlander. Similar size. The front area perfect. You can see on each side, even if you turn your head towards that area, you can do so. With this package that we have for today's video, the Limited doesn't have any blind spot assist, so you always need that space on the right side or left side. Turn your head so you can see the vehicles beside you. Now the mirrors are quite big, so that gives you some space that gives you a better view from the side mirror. It's quite comfortable, very relaxed, not stiff on the road. Now if you upgrade to the TRD Pro, then things will change a little bit, because that thing is equipped with the Fox suspension system, which it is a bit stiffer than this. I have driven the TRD Pro. When it comes to the brakes, this offers 4 pistons in the front, single in the back. No drum brakes on the rear side, which absolutely love it, because I know the Tacoma used the drum brakes on the rear side, which wasn't the best in my opinion. When it comes to the exterior design, the 4Runner for me is the best looking out of the two. It looks boxy with some curves in the front, but yet feels like luxurious. Now with this package, it's not an off-road style, so if you want to upgrade to the TRD Pro, then you'll get a lot of things. So you'll get the fog lights LED made specifically for off-road. Then you get black front bumper, more sporty and more aggressive looking on the rear side and the front side at the same time. You'll get a TRD Pro exhaust system as well, different wheels made for the TRD Pro. So you're going a little bit over when it comes to appearance, and at the same time, some, of course, sorry, the lane assist is beeping because I was close to the lane. When it comes to the actual mechanical side too, you'll get an upgrade as well. Now we're into the Toyota Highlander. We're going to put into sport mode. We're entering the same highway, and I want to see how it does. I'm going to push it a little. Is it faster than the 4Runner? I think it might be a little bit faster than that, because I can already feel the difference. When you go back, when you drive cars back to back, you notice quite a lot of things. If you do one today and one 2 weeks from now, unless you have driven that car multiple times, it's hard to tell the difference right away. So it takes some time. But when you do back to back, in literally 10 to 15 minutes of difference, you learn so much, and you are able to actually notice the differences, like how it drives, how it handles. Like for example, one thing I noticed with the Highlander, the steering wheel is so much lighter compared to the 4Runner. I mean, it takes a finger. Right now I have it in sport mode, so it's a bit stiffer compared to standard mode. And we are entering the highway. Okay, yeah, a bit more kick than the 4Runner. Okay, a bit faster, just slightly faster than the 4Runner. I feel so much more relaxed in this vehicle compared to the 4Runner. It's so much more relaxing and chilling and just a proper cruiser. In the 4Runner, you're in a different car, in a different SUV. It's more like, let's take it off-road. This is, let's take a long trip. It's very relaxing. That's one thing with this car I noticed. And it's so much softer on the road too. It's not, the 4Runner, it's not uncomfortable, but you notice the difference, the ride quality between the two of them. This is so much softer on the roads, and it feels like a boat ride. It's nice and soft and relaxing, and it's going up and down slowly, not going too hard on the potholes or even small cracks on the road. You can barely feel it in here. Very relaxed. a lot better than the older Toyota Highlander, which I wasn't the biggest fan. When it comes to technology, this thing of course has quite a lot more technology compared to the Toyota 4Runner, because of course it is their luxury and it is their best-selling vehicle too. You got quite a lot of features when it comes to safety. I've done a test. I've already tested the adaptive cruise control, quite precise, stays within the lanes, make sure it doesn't bounce left and right. You get, and in this vehicle, of course, you have the blind spot assist as well, and it offers a 360 camera first with that bird's eye view. So technology-wise, on the tech side, the 4Runner is slightly behind. It's not outdated, and it's not very far off from what the Highlander offers, but you know the difference in here when it comes to technology. You have extra features. So that's one thing that separates these two vehicles, in my opinion. Now we're going to do our cabin noise test and see how this thing does. We're going to take it at, of course, the maximum speed that we can do on this highway, which is 100 kilometers an hour, which will be about 62 miles per hour. In the 4Runner, we got 67.5. 67.5. In the Toyota Highlander, we got 65.3. 65.3. It's exact. I did in the exact same road I did the 4Runner, the same speed as well. So 65.3. So slightly better compared to the 4Runner, which again explained why I stated at the beginning that I think this will do a little bit better. I actually compared this to the Kia Telluride and the Palisade, and it was still slightly better and more isolated compared to those two vehicles. In this model, Toyota has changed quite a lot, the technology, the interior design, and so on. To wrap up everything, which one do I like the most? Well, first of all, it has to do with needs. The Highlander will give you more space overall, of course, and more comfortable compared to the 4Runner. The 4Runner, it's an off-road beast, yet for day-to-day use as well. It offers those technology and, of course, the ride quality for day-to-day is comfortable, unless you go to the TRD Pro, which, of course, will stiffen up the ride. But what I like about the 4Runner is the exterior design. I absolutely love that boxy style compared to the Highlander, which is not quite my favorite. That again is subjective, that is my preference, but you could like the Highlander more than you would the 4Runner. I personally would love the 4Runner exterior plus the Highlander interior. It would be a perfect vehicle and a little bit more horsepower, but maybe I could go for the TRD Pro and make it more interesting. I love the TRD Pro. It looks so aggressive and so off-road style. So at the end of the day, if you wanted to pick between the two of them, you got to take into consideration what they offer in terms of technology and space. Do you need more space? Do you need more technology? Then the Highlander could be your choice. Do you need a vehicle that looks like the 4Runner yet gives you all those crazy off-road mechanical features and capabilities as well? Or do you like the Highlander because how it looks? Like, those are the things that you got to keep in mind. I hope I've answered some of your questions, and if you have any specific questions that I haven't covered, please leave a comment in the section below. And special thanks goes to our friends at St. Catherine Toyota Performance for allowing me to bring these two together, review them against each other, and of course show you what they offer. And at the same time, if you want to know more about the upcoming video, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, where I usually post the videos that I usually do day to day. And don't forget to subscribe. That was it for today. Thank you. Cheers.